Okay.
So how do we start this? Just welcome to the first episode of Terms of Service. This is a podcast where we take a game, product, something along those lines that has a terms of service, and we read through it and commentate, because I usually read through these myself and find funny bits that I want to share. So we thought, why not do that?
Right. Yeah. This is going to be sort of a demo for what could potentially be a series, or maybe just a limited run. Anyway, episode 1 here. What have we got?
Well, first up we have a MMO game on Steam, free to play, called Tales of Toast.
Tales of Toast.
Yes, Tales of Toast.
Sounds like a very serious MMO.
It's not. It was very dead. I was playing with someone in the room, and there was a grand total of 1 person that we found on the entire server, other than the 2 of us.
Okay. Well.
Anyway, let's get started. Effective date, 29th of August, 2017. So, we're already over a year old.
Right, yeah.
Introduction. Tale of Toast is owned and operated by Toasty Leaf AB. The terms of use agreement may be changed at any time, at which time you will see a notification as you start the game.
Sounds pretty standard. Nice of them to let you know.
Yeah, I'm used to these things actually saying that they may be changed at any time without informing you, essentially.
Yeah, just without notice.
Without notice. We will treat your continued use of Tale of Toast as acceptance of these changes from their effective date as shown at the top of this agreement. Okay, so this next section, age requirement.
Oh, this will be good.
You may not use this software if you are under the age of 13. In the event that you are under the age of 18, you must have consent from your parent guardian to use a product from Toasty Leaf AB.
Is that parent/guardian?
That is parent/guardian.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds pretty standard.
Well, I mean, what if you're 12? Like,
well,
I guess they have to have, like, that age cutoff at some point, but...
The 13 thing is, I think there's some actual laws about storing information on children under 13.
Oh, so they're storing information.
Well, I mean, assuming your account has some kind of information being stored, I don't know. Yeah, that is suspect, but yeah, I wonder about the under 18 thing, having permission. That is a little strange.
It's probably I don't remember because this happened at least a year ago, I want to say. But it's possible that they had like a real money store of some kind, because, I mean, these free-to-play games generally do.
Right, yeah.
I don't remember there being one, but if there was one, that would explain the age limit.
I guess so, yeah.
Rules. You must follow certain rules when playing Tale of Toast. The rules you find below may be altered, and Toasty Leaf AB reserves the right to take action on conducts they feel are outside the spirit of the game, and to take disciplinary measures according to what Toasty Leaf AB find necessary.
Outside the spirit of the game?
Yes.
And disciplinary
measures according to what Toasty Leaf AB find necessary.
That's, what do they mean by that?
I don't know. The spirit of the game. If you are not correctly possessed by the game itself, then you cannot play.
Well, spirit of the game is nice and vague, and they can interpret that to mean whatever they want, but I'm a little bit concerned as to what, like, discipline they're gonna do. Like, they're gonna send you to your room?
Well, depending on the severity, continuing the next paragraph, depending on the severity, as decided solely by Toasty Leaf AB's discretion, you may be banned for a duration of time or permanently, or have your chat privileges suspended.
Okay.
So they do clarify it.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. Should we get to these rules?
Yeah, but first, I actually just made a connection earlier. Under age requirement, when we were at that section, it said consent of parent or guardian to use a product from Toasty Leaf AB. So this agreement isn't necessarily just for this game. It's for anything that this company makes.
Oh, so yeah, they just made a generic one because it was easier than having like individual ones for whatever games
Right,
they have.
but the rules and stuff that comes afterwards is specific to this game. So just the age requirement, they're saying that all of their products, everything they make, needs to be by an 18-year-old. This is an 18 plus company.
I guess.
Unless you have parents' permission.
Yeah, they probably just have like a template for their terms of service.
Probably.
Where that paragraph's just in all of them, and they just change what rules apply.
Right. Okay. So here is the collection of my favorite section of this terms of service. The first rule is your character name must meet the following rules.
Oh boy.
So we've got a lot of bullet points here. Let's just take them one at a time. 1. Must not be vulgar, hateful, obscene, defamatory, ethnically insulting, or otherwise objectionable.
Otherwise objectionable. With the vagueness again. Well, that does seem fairly reasonable.
And if you're wondering why I put a pause between ethnically and insulting, it's because there is a comma there. Ethnically is its own separate thing.
Must not be ethnically.
Must not be ethnically.
What?
Must not be vulgar, comma, hateful, comma, obscene, comma, defamatory, comma, ethnically, comma, insulting, or otherwise objectionable.
I have got to believe that comma's not supposed to be there.
It's a list.
Because it must not be ethnically is not correct grammar, and even if they meant to say must not be ethnic, then that's even worse. I mean...
Well, I assume they wanted to say ethnically insulting, but they didn't want to specify just ethnically insulting, but they didn't want to have the word insulting on there twice.
I don't think they edited this thoroughly enough. Let's move on.
Bullet point 2. Must not be taken with the intent to impersonate another player, a moderator, or Toasty Leaf AB employee. I think that's pretty standard. You don't want someone pretending like they're part of the company.
Right. No impersonation.
No impersonation. Bullet point 3. Must not have a sexual, pornographic, drug, or alcohol-related connotation.
Okay.
Basically, the 18 plus company wants them to make sure that their name doesn't have anything that is 18 plus.
What was rule 1 again?
Vulgar, hateful, obscene, defamatory, ethnically insulting, or otherwise objectionable.
Obscene? Doesn't that obscene cover... Anyway,
I mean, otherwise objectionable could cover everything in bullet point 3 as well.
Yeah, bullet point 3 seems a little redundant, but we're saying
they wanted to be explicit.
Yeah, they want to make sure no drugs, no sex.
Bullet point 4. Must not include your name and or surname, which again makes sense cuz
No. What I mean, who are they to tell me I can't give my name out online?
You make a fair point. Actually, thinking about that, it's 18 plus, and if you're under the age of 18, they want you to have a parent and guardian to give permission.
Yeah, there's no reason you can't use
There's
your
no
name.
reason you couldn't use your name with those requirements.
Plus, how are they going to know it's your name? Like, What if your name is like Bob Smith? What? Or what if you want to use someone else's name?
That's impersonation. Sorry, that was covered in bullet point 2.
Oh yeah, sorry. Of course. I meant like I meant like a character or something. I guess
Oh, we'll get to that.
we're um
There's a lot of bullet points.
maybe we should read the next one.
Bullet point 5. Right on time. Must not resemble or imitate a trademark, popular culture figure, celebrity, or media personality.
Okay. No pop culture figure, no.
No trademark.
So no
No.
no so basically just don't name yourself after a existing character.
Right. If the character exists, don't do it.
This is getting very limiting on a lot of people's usernames right now.
Yeah, even XXX Sephiroth XXX is not safe.
Yeah. The edgiest of usernames. Maybe that's why there was only one person on there when you were playing.
Yeah,
It was the only person in the world with an acceptable username by these terms.
probably. Though, I don't know. P-Lord is a kind of a weird name.
Is that what their name was?
That's what the name was.
Hey P Lord, if you're listening, get in touch or get you on the next one.
Whew. Yeah. Next bullet point. Bullet point 6. Must not refer to a narcotic product or other entity forbidden by law.
Didn't we already have this one?
We had drugs or alcohol, but we did not have narcotic product or forbidden by law.
Other. Okay.
I guess the drugs in the first one were actually talking about Tylenol and Advil
Right.
and all
And
of
well-
your drugstore drugs.
And other product forbidden by law, that could refer to like certain firearms, and there's lots of things that could refer to. So, totally different, definitely not redundant bullet points.
Yeah, we have to make sure that they're not allowed to name themselves anything.
Oh, and Tylenol is already, isn't that a trademark? I think we covered that in rule.
Oh, you're right. You're
5?
right. That was they're not actually numbered. They're just bullet points.
Of course.
But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 was trademark.
All right. No narcotics.
No narcotics. 7. There are 10 bullet points, by the way. So we're getting there.
Okay.
Number 7. Must not imitate or resemble the names of the characters from within Tale of Toast, non-player characters, or enemies.
What? How are you supposed to know the names of the characters in the game that you are setting up your account to play?
I assume there might be a character named Toast.
One assumes.
I'm not sure what else. You probably need to stay away from any generic monsters, like a slime or bat.
I have a friend who is a slime. I feel like he would get banned immediately upon making his account.
For
For
naming himself after an enemy.
Yep. Clearly.
I mean, the idea behind this bullet point, I get. You don't want somebody pretending that they're like an NPC in the game,
I
but
guess. I don't. Do you really
I don't
think
know
anyone
what you. Well, I don't know what you would do with that if you were pretending to be an NPC or an enemy in the game. Like, okay, you fooled this person. What do you do with that?
Yeah.
They believe that you're an NPC. Now what?
Joke's on them. You sent them on a quest. Now they're going to collect slime goo for no reason. I don't know. I don't know what you could really like. I don't know what your angle would be on that one, but even that, like, I think would be pretty hard. Like, you'd have to be pretty naive to not realize it's unless they're that confident in like the AI of their NPCs.
I mean, we are talking about 13-year-olds, as long as they have parent permission.
I don't think 13-year-olds. If anything, 13-year-olds would be better at telling apart NPCs from real people because they've been doing it their whole life.
Fair point. Bullet point number 8. Must not belong to any religious figure or deity.
Oh, right. No narcotics, no drugs, no sex, no God.
Right.
No copyrighted material, was it? Trademarks?
Yeah, no trademarks. They actually didn't specify copyright, but they did specify trademark.
Or was it existing character?
It was trademark popular culture figure, celebrity, or media personality.
Popular culture figures, right. Which could be many things.
Could be many things.
Right, no religion.
No religion.
Secular usernames only, please.
So, at this point, what kind of a name do you think you would even be able to do without breaking any of these rules? We've got 2 rules left still.
I was going to say generic name, but then there's no way for them to know is that your real name because you're not allowed to do real names. And if it's not your real name, it's someone's real name probably, which would be impersonation. So I guess no human names are allowed, but no... I guess you could name yourself after like an object. You could name yourself like Chair or Toaster Man.
But what if
Unless
there was
Toaster
an
Man's
NPC
right
in the game that was Toaster Man?
Yeah, you can't be too sure. There probably is a Toaster Man. Maybe just a random series of letters and numbers.
That's what I was aiming for. Bullet point number 9.
No.
Must not be gibberish such as PPXXZZQQ or ASDF.
Astif.
Rule number 9, must not be gibberish. Sorry, that name is also off the list.
Toasty Leaf, was it? What if you got against Tomska? I just... Must not be... Specifically calls him out here. Must not be Astif.
Well, I mean, that is popular culture.
Oh, yeah.
Or a trademark, maybe.
It might be a trademark. I don't know.
Media personality?
Yeah, okay. We've broken several rules here.
We'll go there. So...
Well, it's not impersonation. What if a celebrity makes an account?
You must not use your real name.
Oh, right. Well, then the celebrity thing's not really necessary if you have no impersonation and no using your real name. You don't need a third one to tell you not to be it.
I mean, the first one said specifically to... It didn't say impersonation. It said intent to impersonate another player, moderator, or Toasty Leaf employee.
Oh, okay.
So technically, it's impersonating another player rather than impersonating someone from reality.
Yeah, assuming they're not a player. Right.
And the last bullet point, if the first 9 weren't restrictive enough, including no gibberish, is not spelled alternatively in order to circumvent the rules imposed above.
Oh,
so
right.
Just in case you were thinking of getting around those rules by having your 3s and your 7s just mixed in there in place of E's and T's.
Right, yeah. Or your @ signs. Use all your profanity with
dollar signs and
@ signs. Yeah. Or just try and write your own name in Leet speak. But they'll catch you. They'll be like, that's your real name, isn't it? Not allowed.
All right. Well, while chatting, you must meet the following rules. We have another series of bullet points.
If you manage to find one of the 8 usernames that we deemed acceptable and actually make an account and try and chat with one of the other 7 destined people that successfully found a usable username, this is the rules on what you're allowed to talk to them about, I guess.
Bullet point number 1. Must not disturb the normal flow of dialogue, such as by, without limitation, sending multiple text lines in a row with the objective to, quote, flood, end quote, the chat, advertising for services available outside of Tale of Toast, also known as, quote, spam, end quote.
No spamming. Got it.
No spamming and no flooding the chat
Yeah.
to disrupt the normal flow of dialogue, which was none.
Right. Yeah. The normal, the normal flow. Of
The
dialogue.
normal flow of dialogue.
Right. I think just sending a message disrupts the normal flow.
Right. Bullet point number 2. Must not post someone's personal information. That makes sense. You don't want to let somebody just post out whatever personal information doesn't belong to them. If they post their own,
Yeah.
it says someone's it says someone's, could be your own.
Yeah, but it'd be hard for them to prove that it was their own. It's probably easier
to just say anyone's personal information.
Yeah, because you don't want somebody posting somebody's phone number and saying like, "Oh, this is mine," but then you find out it's not.
Right.
Fair enough.
Bullet point 3. Must not be chatting with the intent to impersonate another player, moderator, or Toasty Leaf AB. The letter T. Employee. They just have a random letter T by accident. It was definitely a typo when they were typing the word employee after AB.
It's Toasty Leaf AB is the name, right?
Yeah, Toasty Leaf AB.
That was what it was earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they just have a letter T that's in the middle of their terms of service between the letters AB and employee.
Well, Toasty Leaf, if you're listening, I think you should go make some corrections. You've got a typo. Please remove this T.
Yeah, but they remove that T, and then they have to post that they have the new effective date, and then they're going to have people reading through to try and figure out what the change was.
Well, they said they would notify you, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the notification just comes up. We removed a stray T from the center of our terms of service.
From the middle of our terms of service, there was a letter T that was not meant to be there. Bullet point 4. Must not be vulgar, hateful, obscene, defamatory, or otherwise objectionable. Now, you'll notice something is missing.
What was the rule on the name earlier?
Vulgar, hateful, obscene, defamatory, ethnically, insulting, or otherwise objectionable.
So do you think they copied it from the earlier rule and pasted it down there, realized their mistake, deleted the mistake, but didn't go back and fix it in the first one?
Quite possibly, but the thing is...
Or they're okay with you being ethnically...
ethnically and also insulting.
And or insulting in the chat.
I mean, as long as they don't find it otherwise objectionable...
Next time I'm chatting with someone, you are being otherwise objectionable, sir.
Bullet point 5, must not have sexual, pornographic, drug, or alcohol-related connotation.
All right, solid rule.
Solid rule. Same as before about the name.
Yep.
6, must not harass, threaten, or stalk someone.
I think that's always a rule. I'm
right.
fairly certain that's always a rule.
But it's important to have these things in the contract just so that you can point out, like, see, this is what you agreed to, and you did it anyway.
Is it? I think... do they have don't murder in the contract?
No.
Don't kill Tales of Toast users, like, with a knife? They don't need
but if you're,
specifics
if
like
you're
that.
not allowed to stalk someone, how would you... Or post personal information, how would you find the person?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. No stalking, but always no stalking. That you're not allowed to stalk people outside of Tales of Toast. That's not okay.
And the last bullet point for the chat is must not refer to a narcotic product or other entity forbidden by law.
What was two rules ago?
sexual, pornographic, drug, or alcohol. It's the same thing as on the name where they have drug and alcohol, and then they also have narcotics
Yeah.
as a separate.
Okay. So the chat is mostly repeats of the same things that the name rules were, except it seems like they corrected one of the errors by just removing it.
Without correcting it at the top, yes.
Yeah. Which, first of all, is like kind of lazy that they didn't go back and fix it, but also they've now made a glaring like gap in their chat rules. So I guess you can be as ethnically as you wish.
When I figure out how to be ethnically, I might do that.
Yeah, we might break the rule.
We
once,
might.
once we figure out what being ethnically means.
Yeah, once we figure out what being ethnically means.
Unless that T means something that we aren't aware of.
Oh, that's true.
Maybe the T was an abbreviation for ethnically insulting.
Could be. In the event that you engage in behavior that Toasty Leaf AB considers a violation to the Tale of Toast Terms of Use Agreement, we reserve the right to immediately and permanent ban you. Sorry, I just got taken out of it by the grammar. Immediately and permanent ban you, not permanently.
Immediately and permanent. What's their company? Toasty something?
Toasty Leaf AB.
Do we know where they're based? Do they speak English?
Good question. The top of this terms of service has the Union Jack up top. So I don't know if that means show me the English version of the contract or if that is the nationality.
Yeah, I think that's probably saying that this is the English version. You keep reading. I'll see if I can figure out where they're from.
Okay. Permanent ban you and your account from accessing our services and take legal action. Examples of such behavior is outlined below. So now we have some examples of behavior that would result in them trying to permanent ban you.
All right.
How many bullet points is this? Ooh, a nice round 10. Bullet point 1. Endangering the gaming experience of other players. No comment?
Endangering what?
The gaming experience of other players.
I mean, I get what it's meaning, but I think endangering is a strong word to be using here.
2. Hosting, provide matchmaking services for, or intercepting, emulating, or redirecting the communication protocols used by Toasty Leaf AB as part of Tale of Toast, regardless of the method used to do so.
What was that? Hosting provide?
Hosting, comma, provide matchmaking services for, comma, or intercepting, comma, emulating or redirecting the communication protocols used.
Okay.
Basically, if you hijack our servers,
Yeah, no hacking.
no hacking, and redirecting people to different servers.
All right.
3. Modifying or causing the modification of any files that are part of a Toasty Leaf installation. No modding.
Okay. No modding. No hacking. No redirecting.
Speaking of hacking, though, this is the actual no hacking. 4. Creating or using cheats, bots, mods, or other hacks, or any other third-party software designed to modify the Tale of Toast experience.
Oh. So you are allowed to use bots as long as they don't modify the Tale of Toast experience? Is that what I'm hearing?
Technically, but what bots would you use that wouldn't modify the experience?
I mean, It's not modifying anyone else's experience if you have a bot. In fact, you could also be playing on a separate account and it wouldn't be modifying your experience.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. 5. Reverse engineer, derive source code from, modify, disassemble, or decompile Tale of Toast. Basically, don't take their code apart and figure out how they made everything.
Sure.
That's pretty standard. 6. Using any third-party software that intercepts, mines, packet sniff, hack, provide scripting, and or macroing, or otherwise collects information from or through Tale of Toast. Basically, don't use any stuff that's going to grab information from their servers and the game.
Right. I think they kind of already covered that, but just to be safe, we're at another bullet point here saying the same thing and rephrasing it.
7. Buying or selling for real money, real in quotations, or exchange gold, weapons, armor, or any other virtual items that may be used in Tale of Toast outside the Tale of Toast platform.
Real money with real in quotation marks.
With real in quotation marks.
Hmm.
I believe that's probably there to sort of cover Bitcoin. Or
I
something
guess
that's just a purely digital currency.
I think they're just trying to say like, yeah, like real like actual currency, like, but I don't. I think I understand what they mean by real money without needing the quotation marks. I think that's the doing like air quotes while you say real makes me think like that it's not real.
Yeah.
That it's like
Right.
like Tales of Toast is winking at us. Like we know money's like only gets its value because everyone pretends that it's real, but it's not really real. Like real money. Yeah, I don't know. Or gold. What else did it say?
Or exchange gold, weapons, armor, or any other virtual items that may be used in Tale of Toast outside the Tale of Toast platform.
So, do they have a trading system?
Probably.
They have to have some way to transfer items, right? Or gold or whatever.
I'm sure they have a trading system.
They just don't want you making deals outside of the game to exchange real money and things like that.
Right. Basically, they don't want you selling stuff in game for real money outside of the game, and or selling your account itself, which I get, but at the same time, how many people are going to be selling their Tale of Toast account?
And why would they care about that?
Actually, no. I just realized the reason why someone might sell their Tale of Toast account. They got one of the 8 existing names that actually work.
That's right. That's right. There.
Such a scarcity of names. You managed to grab one that's worth millions.
Yep. But I just don't see why they would be upset about that. Like, if anything, it just means that people care about their game enough to like spend money on that sort of thing.
Well, considering that the topic title for the next section after this one is purchasing digital goods, I assume they want you giving them your money.
Yeah, that's probably it, I guess. They want you to use their in-app purchases to get your items rather than having some like third-party market.
All right. Bullet point number 8. Allowing any third person except for a minor for whom you've opened the account to play on your account, including but not limited to using so-called power leveling services, i.e. paying a third person for playing on your account. So apparently there are people in MMOs that they like grinding, or they are okay enough with it to make it a job where you pay them and they will grind your character to a higher level for you.
Right. Really, what you're saying is there's people who dislike grinding enough that they're willing to pay someone to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're saying in their terms of service that they do not want, and you can get banned for paying someone to level for you.
I don't really see why that's any of their business. And also, like, so this means if I was playing and I handed off, like, to you or someone to play for me for a bit, like, oh, check out this game I'm playing, and then I hand it off to you, then they have a right to ban my account if they found out. That seems unnecessarily strict.
Right. And I think my thought process on this is, how would they know if all that you're doing is leveling your character? How do they know that it's someone that you paid to play your account, or even not paid, that you just are sharing an account with someone? How would they know that you are not one person playing the account?
Yeah. What was the wording there as well? With you said third person.
Allowing any third person, except for a minor whom you've opened the account, for whom you've opened the account, to play on your account, including but not limited to power leveling services.
I get that they're doing like third person perspective, like a third party, but I'm not sure that's completely correct there. Allowing a third person to use your account, like you can have a second person use your account. Maybe I'm being pedantic here, but
Yeah, since you're pretty sure that English isn't their first language, I'm going to give them a little pass on that.
I'm suspecting, but I can't seem to find their anything about their company really. I don't think they have a Wikipedia page. I'll keep looking.
Okay. Bullet point number 9. Playing on the account of a third person, including but not limited to providing so-called power leveling services. So you can also be banned for being the person who is doing the power leveling.
Wasn't this already kind of addressed in the whole selling or buying goods thing?
You're right.
I feel like these three
bullet points could really have just been one.
Could have been one bullet point with just minimal summarization.
And then the last bullet point for this section is insinuating, assisting, or becoming involved in an attack upon any Tale of Toast server or otherwise attempt to disrupt the Tale of Toast servers. Basically, DDoS attacks or any kind of server attacks. Just don't be involved in that. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Okay. Purchasing digital goods. Users may purchase special in-game currency known as crumbs in Tale of Toast. Crumbs can be redeemed in-game to purchase items and services, which does not alter a player's experience, level, or statistics. So if it doesn't alter your experience, your level, or the statistics, I mean, maybe it's cosmetic, but that could be argued alters the experience. I was about to ask, why would anybody buy these in-game items if it doesn't influence your level, statistics, or experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like hats and TF2. Like, people just like them.
Probably. Crumbs cannot be used to gain an advantage over someone else in combat. Instead, they are used for features such as... Oh, here we go. the features, and this one's actually numbered.
It's weird for that to be in this because, like, the chat I get is like open and you can type whatever you want and they have to set rules like don't use profanity or whatever.
Right.
But the crumbs are like a currency in the game, I guess, and they can be spent on things in the game, and they can't be spent on things that the game doesn't give you the options to spend them on. It's not like the chat where it's open ended, but you're like, and you have to follow rules. It's like the game itself is setting the rules. Why do they need to tell you what these things can and can't be spent on? I just don't understand why that's even here. Put that inside of the game itself.
I'm sure it's in the game as well. We've talked about redundancy, but
yeah,
terms of service in general are built on redundancy.
But it's not like when you're in the game and you have these crumbs that you can then go, oh, I'm gonna spend these crumbs on getting extra experience points, and then they go like, oh, you've broken the rules. Like, it's just not an option. If it's just not an option, you don't need to then put it in a list of things.
Right. Well, here are the features that you can buy with crumbs, according to this terms of service. 1, purchasing an item such as a crown, which allows the player to use a crown that contains no combat enhancement, but only adds a visual effect to the player. So, literally cosmetic hats.
Yeah.
Like we just said.
Yeah. Called it.
2, altering the appearance, such as changing hair color.
Okay. That's kind of like a hat.
It's kind of like a hat. 3, doing a name change. Do you get one of the 8 names that actually work?
But you decide you want one of the other ones?
You want something else? Pay them and they'll let you change your name.
Yep.
Items or services purchased by Crumbs cannot be traded or transferred to another player, with the exception of the Crumbs Bond.
The Crumbs Bond.
The Crumbs Bond, which is explained in the next sentence. Crumb Bonds can be traded in-game for regular in-game currency, gold, or items, and then exchanged for crumbs.
Okay. This sounds like pretty standard in-game pay currency.
Yeah. So you can't trade items you buy with crumbs to another player, but you can give them a crumb bond which can be traded for crumbs that they can then use to buy the item that you wanted to give them. So why not allow them to trade the item?
Does it say you can't trade items? Didn't it say earlier you're not allowed to exchange items or gold or
specifically, that's
real money?
Right. Well, that was items and gold that you trade outside of the game.
Right.
Using real money as the exchange.
But I assume that meant you could trade items.
Right, but this says items or services purchased with crumbs or by crumbs cannot be traded or transferred to another player, except crumb bonds. But crumb bonds can be traded in-game for regular currency or items and then exchanged for crumbs. So, if I want to buy you a crown with my crumbs, I have to instead buy a crumb bond, give you the crumb bond, you exchange it for an item or the gold, and then exchange it for crumbs, and then use those crumbs to buy yourself the crown.
Huh.
I can't buy the crown and give you the crown.
I guess I'm trying to think of like what they could possibly be thinking with this. My best guess is they don't want someone to play the game a bunch, get all these like best like equipment or cosmetics or whatever, and then and then when they're like tired of playing the game, trade it all to someone who's just starting. And they're okay with the idea of like buying someone else a gift card. Essentially, is that what a crumb bond is? If I'm understanding this right.
That's what I'm getting from this. And I think you're right. My thought is, if I buy the crown for myself, wear it for a week, and then you say you want the crown, and I decide I don't want it anymore, I can't just give you the crown and
You have to
call
put
it a day.
You
I
have to put more
then
money into it.
buy a second crown, so that essentially, or put enough money to buy a second crown
Right.
into the game.
I mean, it seems unnecessary, but I guess.
Crumbs may never be traded for anything outside Tale of Toast. Cannot be inherited, redeemed for real-world currency, and is not your private property. Should your sell sorry. Missed another typo there when I was speaking. Just auto-corrected it. Should your sell or purchase crumbs from a third party,
YOUR?
YOUR,
Should your sell?
should your sell from a third party for, quote, real life, end quote, currency from a party other than Toasty Leaf AB, we reserve the right to ban your account.
I swear they already covered this one. It was real money before. Now it's it was real money before. Now it's real life currency.
In the event that you purchase crumbs, you must verify that they have been successfully credited to your account, and let us know immediately if not. In the event that you have breached any of our terms and conditions, gained crumbs by mistake, your payment is charged back, canceled, or reversed, or the crumbs are used to conduct fraudulent illegal actions. We reserve the right to delete or otherwise alter your crumbs. Okay, how are you going to use crumbs to conduct fraudulent or illegal actions? Impersonating another player.
Can you impersonate another player?
Impersonating an employee. You could use crumbs to buy a fancy hat or something and try and claim that all employees wear this hat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
All right. We reserve the right to set restrictions on players as to the amount of crumbs they can hold. So
they're limiting. They reserve the right.
They reserve the right to limit how much of the pay currency you can have on your character at one time.
It's strange that would be necessary. Is it maybe because they would want to up the cost of it at some point in the future? They don't want you stocking up on it?
Possibly. We also reserve the right to delete, reduce, or otherwise alter a player's crumbs if they are banned in accordance to our rules, or if we suspect the purchase to be fraudulent.
Okay. I don't know what they're going to do with these crumbs if they're banned, but sure, go ahead and wipe them.
Well, there's also temporary bans they mentioned earlier.
Oh, right. Because it was immediately permanent ban.
Refunds. Generally speaking, we are unable to offer refunds. The only circumstance we may do so are when required by law. This means, without limitation, that we will not reimburse you if you fall victim to a scam, if you have been banned, if the Tale of Toast service is no longer offered, or if you decide to stop playing. In the event that Tale of Toast is unavailable or discontinued permanently or temporarily, we will not provide refunds, benefits, or other compensation to users unless required by law. This means that without limitations, we do not provide a refund for purchased crumbs, nor do we offer reimbursement for lost in-game gold or items unless required by law. Honestly, this is pretty standard.
I know what no refund means. You don't need a whole paragraph there to explain that. I'm pretty sure there was a slight grammar error at the beginning of that paragraph that honestly I couldn't care enough to go back. I do like the idea of someone requiring you by law to reinstate someone's gold or items in a video game. That seems likely.
What really stuck out to me with that paragraph is that they felt the need, and I'm sure that they had to for some reason because of something that someone tried to pull in the past with some company. They had the need to have the line, or if you decide to stop playing. Like, who's going to be like, you know what? I played this game for a year. I think that I am done and satisfied, but I spent hundreds of dollars in this game. I know. I'll ask them for a refund because I'm done playing now.
Yeah. It's like I really wanted to push the limits on how many crumbs I could have. So I have 3,000 crumbs, and I would like a refund because I'm actually bored of this game and I'm going to stop playing. Like, why did you do this?
Third parties. Toasty Leaf AB uses multiple third parties, such as an external payment provider that processes payments. We do not make any form of promises about these services as they are outside our control, which means we are unable to guarantee that they are secure. Toasty Leaf AB is not responsible for any damages, cost, or other issues caused by these services.
Any form of promises.
Any form of promises. Essentially, they're not responsible for the people they work with.
Right. But you're not allowed to have a third person play your account.
No.
Yeah.
Licensing. Products from Toasty Leaf AB and any associated software are licensed and not sold. You have no title or ownership to the Toasty Leaf AB products or software. Active Tale of Toast account owners have a non-exclusive, non-transferable, personal limited license which can be revoked at any time to use Toasty Leaf AB products, to download and use our client software, and to connect to our servers solely to use Toasty Leaf AB products for non-commercial purposes in accordance with these terms and conditions.
You mean I don't own any MMO I play?
No, you don't own the MMOs that you play.
Ah, I thought it was a good investment.
Too many MMOs.
Is it really a massively multiplayer online if...
There's only 3 people on the entire server.
Yeah.
And 2 of them both started playing in the same room at the same time.
How did you guys stumble across that anyway?
I don't know. Just randomly looking through Steam games. Property rights. I have a feeling this is going to be a repeat of the last paragraph that we just read. Toasty Leaf AB and Tale of Toast are registered or unregistered trademarks of Toasty Leaf AB depending on country. Okay, I was about to say, how do you become a registered or unregistered? Answer, depending on country.
Okay, so registered in some countries.
So registered in some countries, unregistered in others.
Fair.
All third-party trademarks are the property of their respective owners. The people who own stuff own it. All intellectual property or other rights in any game, character, account, content, virtual currency, and virtual items in Tale of Toast are and will remain the property of Toasty Leaf AB. You are only granted limited permission, which can be revoked at any time, to use such content. Basically, you don't own any of this, we own it. Unless it's third party, then the third party owns it.
Yeah.
Legal. Tale of Toast and any other Toasty Leaf AB products are provided on an as is and as available basis. That means we are unable to guarantee that Tale of Toast will be uninterrupted or free of errors. Toasty Leaf AB is not liable to you for any loss or damage caused by this. Toasty Leaf AB shall have a minimum liability that you suffer in concession with a Toasty Leaf AB product which does not exceed the amount you paid to Toasty Leaf AB during the 3-month prior to the time the cause of action arose to you for your losses or damages. Nothing in these terms and conditions shall exclude or limit Toasty Leaf's AB liability for loss or damage, or for any other liability which cannot be excluded or limited under applicable law. I really liked the part about unable to guarantee that Tale of Toast will be uninterrupted or free of errors, and that they're not liable for any loss or damage caused by this. So, essentially, if their game turned into a big virus that ended up breaking computers, they're not liable for it.
Yeah. Unless that T earlier being a random typo just makes all of this irrelevant, because it's clearly...
I mean, that the letter T is the most important part of this entire thing.
I think so. I think it was there for a reason, and it's just trying to communicate that reason to us.
Oh, I didn't even realize we're down to the last 2 sentences.
Oh no.
Oh no, we're running out of terms of service. In the event that Toasty Leaf AB suffers damage or loss due to your breach of this agreement, you will be liable for the loss and damage. So they're not liable, but we are.
Huh. Yeah, that seems like a safe approach to take as a company making a TOS that no one's going to read.
Right, and that's actually very common. I see it in basically every terms of service that I read.
Lovely.
Is that the company's like, we're not liable if stuff happens, but if you do stuff against us, there's no limit to how much we're going to hold you. Nothing within this terms of use agreement affects your statutory rights under law. That's a good sentence to end off on. Regardless of the terms of service, or the terms of use, as they were calling it.
Laws still apply.
Laws still apply. You still have rights.
Yeah, you're not voiding your rights. That's that's a little bit what I was talking about with the stalking thing. Like, I think I think we know that's illegal. That's not you don't need a phone app to tell you don't harass people, or you shouldn't.
All right. Well, any closing remarks?
I'm still thinking about the names. I don't know. I think Chair is a solid answer. I think if you named yourself Chair, you'd be okay. Assuming there's no NPC with that name.
Assuming so.
Unless they see it as a way of circumventing the spelling of share, and then you'd be impersonating a celebrity. See, that makes it even harder, because it's like you're not allowed to circumvent the spelling of words.
Right.
I think that mostly meant like using numbers and special characters.
I assume so.
But
I mean, there's no real telling.
Right. Well, I don't know if that came out any good. If this is something you're listening to now, then I assume it's been published. If it's something you enjoyed, let us know. We might make some more. We've got at least one other one we were considering. Yeah. So it's developed by 2 guys. One of them is from the US and the other one is from Sweden. So I don't know if...
I would assume if the terms of service is written in English, that it was either written by the person in from the US, or that the person from Sweden speaks good enough English to write it.
Right. But yeah, so I guess those were just typos. I was kind of expecting it to be like an entirely like Japanese based company or something that like maybe poorly translated some of the lines, but nah, yeah, I guess that's just carelessness.